Hello, everyone. My name is Keishana Dupuy with the RCP MAG team, and I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. The topic of today's webcast is navigating Microsoft's new commerce experience, sponsored by Sherweb. Before we begin, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping details. We will have a Q&A session at the end of today's event, so please type any questions you have in the Q&A box at any time during the event. Sherweb has provided great resources on the right-hand side of the screen, so please take a moment to check those out. And today's webcast is being recorded, so keep an eye out for the link in your email to rewatch or share with a colleague. And now I'd like to introduce you all to our speaker for today. Today we have the pleasure of hearing from Alex Laflamme, Microsoft Partner Program and Incentives Manager at Sherweb. We're in for a great event, and with that, Alex, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Keishana, and I understand, that my name is a little bit difficult sometimes to pronounce, but as you can see, my title is even harder than that. So we are definitely talking about Microsoft's new commerce experience today, which is known, to us as NCE. And as Keishana said, I am Alex, Microsoft Partner Program and Incentives Manager here at Sherweb. So today we're going to be covering a few different topics, but it's going to be very focused. So obviously we're going to start first by who is Sherweb, so that you get a bit of an understanding of who we are. And then after that, we're going to go into the meat of the subject. What is NCE? What are the key changes from NCE versus the old way of doing things? What are some important dates to keep in mind? And some tips for navigating the new commerce experience from Microsoft. And as Keishana said, there will be a section for Q&A at the end, so please don't hesitate to write your questions. I am confident I should be able to answer all of them live. Hopefully I didn't just jinx myself here. So who is Sherweb? So on this slide, we're going to put, a lot of different services. We like to say that we're your all-in-one cloud partner. But one thing that for people that are not familiar with either Sherweb or other CSPs, cloud solutions providers, here's a brief analogy. So imagine that these products were something like produce, vegetables, meat, fish, cereals, what have you. You could always go and buy those products directly from the producer. So, if you're a friend that's a farmer, if you have a fishery close to you or a butcher, you can go get these things independently. But there is such a thing as a supermarket or a grocery store that brings all of those different services all together so that you have to go only in one place and get one invoice, one point of contact for those services. So when it comes to the cloud, Sherweb is the equivalent of a supermarket. We even have a cloud marketplace for it, where you'll be able to find all of the best solutions that are out there on the market and have them all from the same provider. One other thing that we offer is partner services. So this really helps MSPs that are trying to grow and sometimes are having a bit of a difficulty, either finding more people to hire or they just don't have that expertise in-house. Well, we are able to be an extension of their team by offering things such as NOC services, professional services, and white label help desk. And then finally, we have hosted solutions, which work for any company size, any type of challenge. So anything that you have that wouldn't fit in a pre-made model, like a license or something like that, and you want to have your own environment, you can contact us and we're able to offer things like desktop as a service, backup as a service, and some managed voice options. So now for the NCE overview. The first slide here talks about the mission statement for Microsoft that tells the Microsoft new commerce experience is a unified billing platform and all of the things that come with it. But bottom line, what it really is, it's a whole change in how Microsoft bills its partners and its end customers. And with it comes some changes from how things were done before. One of the key additions is the fact that there are now multiple term options. Before, on the back end, it was always the same type of license, no matter what you wanted. So now you have more options for it, and it unifies all the different services from Microsoft, whether you are buying things on-prem, whether you're using Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, or even Windows 365, it's now all going to talk to each other on the back end, which really helps for some cross-products benefits. And now the key changes. So, the things that you want to know mainly is like, how does it change from how things were done before? So the first things that we want to talk about is the new cancellation policy. The cancellation policy that comes with the new commerce experience is quite a dramatic shift from how things were done in the past. So now with the new commerce experience, any subscription that you create, you only have 168 hours to cancel it before you are responsible for it for the full term. 168 hours for those of you that haven't seen the movie with the guy that had to chew off his arm to get free in the desert is a week. So it's 7 calendar days. So you really do have a little bit of time to change your mind, or whenever your customer changes his mind. But after those first 7 days, it's very important to understand that you will be responsible for it. And when I say you will be responsible for it, is that if you are a partner purchasing this on behalf of the customer, and the customer for some reason decides not to pay you, you will still be liable for those charges. So it's very important whenever you are talking to your customers and choosing those terms that this is made very clear. Here's some examples of how this actually plays out. So in a first example, we say, customer calls you and says, we want 10 licenses of Business Premium, and we're going to want to choose an annual term, and we're going to want to pay monthly. Which this annual term paid monthly is going to be very similar to how partners were used to dealing with Microsoft. So it's likely going to be the most popular type of setup, but you will have to choose these options. So annual paid monthly. This is done on May 1st, so it's in the future. And then the next day they call you to say, hey, change our mind. We really only need 8 licenses. So because we are in that 160 hours window, you will be able to reduce the license count and get a prorated refund on the 2 licenses removed. Example number 2, similar scenario, but this time, instead of calling you the next day, they wait a whole week, so 8 days later to call you to adjust. So unfortunately, because it's beyond the 168 hours period, cancellation is not allowed, and you'll have this, unfortunately, Mr. Customer, you'll be responsible for these charges until the end of the term. In example number 3, similar again situation. They call you to add 100 licenses of Microsoft 365 E3, but this time they've only chosen the monthly option. So the term is only a month instead of being a full year. So they call you 15 days later and say, okay, we're going to need to cancel 15 of those licenses. Because it's beyond the 168-hour window to cancel those licenses, the option that you have is to select to not auto-renew those 15 licenses. So on the following month, since these are monthly licenses, they will not see the charge. They'll only see the charge for the 85 licenses, but they will not get any type of refund because it's beyond that cancellation policy. Similar concept whenever you want to add or reduce seats. So adding seats is something that can be done anytime, right? Microsoft wants you to consume more services, so they're going to allow you at any time to add more seats. Adding more seats to an existing subscription does not create a new one. So let's say you have, 10 seats of Business Premium and you want to add 5 seats of Business Premium. It's going to be within that same subscription. It's not going to create a new subscription on the side. And the interesting part of the reduction of the seats is that it follows the same line of thinking as with the cancellation policy. So if you are going to add some seats midterm, and here we want to clarify that midterm means at any time during your term and not at the halfway point. So if at any time during your term you add subscriptions, you add seats, you will only have those 168 hours to remove the seats that you've added. So if you have 100 seats and after 3 months you add 10 seats, well, you'll have 168 hours to remove those 10 seats that you just added in the middle of your term. You will not be able to touch the first 100 ones because obviously that 160-hour window will have passed. So it's very important to understand that both the cancellation policy and the reduction of seats work with that same 168-hour window to be able to cancel without any penalties. The other thing that we want to mention on this is that add-ons in the new commerce experience are considered standalone subscriptions. So if you're going to add some Power BI, some audio conferencing, some business voice, some EMS, what have you, it is not going to link to the subscription of the plan. It's not going to link to the term of the plan. It's going to have its own standalone start and end date. So it's very important that, for add-ons, you keep that in mind, that it also has its own subscription. The way pricing works now, so we touched a little bit on how with the new commerce experience, there's now more than one option when it comes to the terms that you want to take. So in this first line, we talk about the payment frequency. So you can choose to have a monthly SKU that has a monthly payment frequency. That makes sense. Whenever you choose an annual term, you will have the option to pay annually or to pay monthly. So whenever you pay monthly on an annual term, you're paying 1/12 of the annual price each month. And then when 3-year options are available, and truth be told, they're not available just yet, but with the Microsoft New Commerce experience, every day brings on a new challenge and a new option, a new feature from Microsoft. So these are definitely coming before the end of the calendar year 2022. And these 3-year terms should really help for locking in the price with your customers, having those long terms for customers that are very cost sensitive. When it comes to the pricing of these different terms, the monthly pricing comes with a 20% price premium. This is something that's very, very important to understand, because whenever you are going to offer the flexibility to your end customers by choosing the monthly options, it will show as 20% more expensive than had they taken an annual term with the monthly payment option. So this is important for customers that are very uneasy about taking contracts and really want to have that flexibility. We can also think of seasonal type employees. So customers that clients that want to have that flexibility for a portion of their workforce are really going to enjoy the monthly option. And when it comes to annual and 3-year terms, this is again for better revenue predictability, and also by having those contracts with those end customers, you are assured that you have that relationship with those customers for the full term. So you don't have to sleep with one eye open, thinking that some of your competitors are trying to steal your customers right from under you. Here's some examples now on how the term offers and the premium pricing goes into effect. So in this first example, you have a customer that requests that you add 10 licenses of the fictitious Microsoft 365 E7 products. So this product doesn't exist, but if it did, it would give you, on top of everything that E5 gives you, it would give you super strength, I think, and invisibility. So those would be the new features added to the E7 product. So in this example, they've taken the annual term paid monthly. That's priced at $100 a month because it's, super strength doesn't come cheap. They call you back the same day and they're saying, well, I'm not sure about, committing, for a whole year for this term. So is there any other option that I can have? And then you tell them, hey, yes, you can take the monthly option, but since there is a 20% premium on this SKU, it's going to be $120 a license. So the customer now has to face, the choice of, paying more to have that flexibility. In the second example, it's the same type of concept. They want to add one license of Microsoft 365 E7. Now they want to choose the monthly option. So it's priced with the premium at $120. But during a discussion with that customer, you discovered that they want this for more than a year. This is for themselves. They're going to be very stable, So instead, you offer them, hey, you can have this same license, but if you take that annual term, still paid monthly, you're going to have a discount. It's going to be $100 a month. We recommend that you promote the monthly SKUs first, and then during your discovery, during your discussions with your customers, then offer the annual licensing if applicable, because going from a higher price to a lower price is a much better customer experience than starting with the low price and then raising it because of certain conditions. Other type of impacts that are coming from this change for a lot of MSP partners on this call, there is a term that's called a CSP transfer. This is when you wanted to transfer a subscription from Microsoft from one partner to another, or from Microsoft directly to a partner. This was very easy to do, and it was the bread and butter of a lot of providers and MSPs. This now, as of today, because obviously everything is subject to change with Microsoft, but as of today, a customer subscription cannot be transferred during the middle of the term of the subscription between CSP partners. As you have probably guessed, like the reason for this is because of the new cancellation policy. After the 168 hours, they are bound to you. You have that agreement with that end customer. So for those licenses that you've taken with that customer, you have to, write them all the way until term. If that customer wants to have new licenses, either of the same product that they already have or different products, that's fine. So they could have, 10 licenses of Business Basic with a partner that they have and they don't want to deal with anymore. And then with you, they take Business Standard and Business Premium, even some more Business Basic. So it doesn't stop you from taking on new customers, but you have to understand that the licensing that they have right now on NCE is liable to the NCE cancellation policy, and it cannot be transferred. The last shift from the NCE approach versus what's called now the legacy approach is when it comes to trials. Microsoft trials have always been available either directly in the M365 Admin Center or through providers, giving you 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, even a year free of E1, depending on the type of promotion that was going on. This is a radical shift from that. The new trials in NCE, you pretty much have to think of them as a first month free of at least 25 licenses of any type of product. So the trials are available for all of the products, but there is a minimum requirement of 25 seats, and they will be auto-renewed into paid licenses. So even though that first month you're not going to pay anything, you will still be committed to the same type of cancellation policy as with a regular subscriptions. So be very careful when offering trials, because again, it is part of that new philosophy, that new approach of having commitments. Here we have a timeline that's been modified over and over and over again. I feel sorry for you sometimes, Amon. He's on the call. But he's been doing a great job in getting that updated. So where we are right now is pretty much in the middle of the timeline. We're right after the March 10th deadline. So now that means that any new subscription, any new product that you want to offer to your end customers have to be placed on the new Commerce Experience platform. And the upcoming dates that are important here, the way we have it set up is because, Sherweb has, some suggestions and some approaches just to make sure that, our partners are well served. And then you have the little Microsoft icon to show what the deadlines are coming from Microsoft. So the next thing that's coming up is going to be a Sherweb imposed deadline for partners to move to NCE by December. And we're going to be providing, all the tools to migrate your subscriptions, no end customer impact or anything like that. The reason we're doing this is because Microsoft has announced that for all of the legacy licensing that you may still have, as of December 31st, there will no longer be incentives associated with them. Incentives in Microsoft's piece is cashback for you directly from Microsoft. There are some requirements for that. You have to be a silver partner and other things, but most of our Sherweb partners are well aware of the incentives that come along, from Microsoft, and we want to make sure that they do not skip a beat on getting those incentives from Microsoft. So we'll make sure that all eligible Sherweb subscriptions will be on NCE by December, so that there is no gap in legacy payments from Microsoft to the partners. And then the final date that's on this timeline is in 2023. As of now, it is the way Sherweb works. We had done a big push to get our partners to lock in their pricing before the March 1st price increase. So now in 2023, when it comes to March 1st, that price increase, that will have been delayed for years for our partner, will finally come into effect. So you'll have to watch out for those dates that are upcoming. And finally, some tips on navigating the NCE platform, because it may be a little bit daunting, all of this new information. How am I going to talk to my customers? What is going on? So here's some quick tips that, may help, clear some of the mud. So one of the things is that you may want to move all of your existing customers, all of your clients to the new commerce experience on the same day. This will help you, avoid having to manage different anniversary dates. I mean, the Sherweb portal is great. You have every single subscription with every single anniversary date and term. So, we really want to try to make that easier for you. But it's still a good idea to try to, limit the amount of noise that you'll get. So choose a transition date with your customers, see what everyone's comfortable with, and then try to move them all on that same date. So you'll have that, checkpoint each month or each year that you'll be able to talk to your customers about renewing and those upcoming anniversaries. There's also some documentation tools that can help you track anniversary dates. Here we recommend SyncMonkey, but there's a lot of other tools out there that will help you. Just little alerts. Hey, renewal's coming up. You'll have to make some decisions and all of that. And then finally, create new monthly and annual products in your PSA tool, because this is, again, a shift in how Microsoft has been giving out licenses. There used to be just one SKU, one license for a product. But now, because of the monthly, annual, and upcoming 36-month terms, those will be unique SKU numbers. So it's going to be a good idea for your professional service automation tools to be able to have those SKUs set up so that they can know the difference between the two when it comes to invoice your end customers. So again, Sherweb is one simple marketplace. So it's kind of like the supermarket of cloud services, only the best products available in there. So really reach out to us if you want to learn more. And I believe I'm at the end of my presentation. I have no idea how much time it's taken. Hopefully we're on time. So Kishana, back to you, I think, for the Q&A.
Oh, well, that was great, Alex. We are absolutely on time, and let's hop into some exciting questions. Okay, the first one we have here is, does NCE also apply if we purchase our licenses from Microsoft directly?
Yes, great question, but this is a, across all channels change. So any type of commercial products now since March 10th are purchased on the NCE platform, whether you are purchasing it through a provider like Sherweb or from Microsoft directly. The only exceptions to this, if you'll notice, I've said commercial licensing. So there is such a thing as educational licensing, nonprofit licensing, government licensing. Those are not on NCE yet, but they will eventually be brought into NCE as well.
Got it. Thank you. Okay, the next one we have here is, if I upgrade a license, am I stuck paying for both, or will I get a refund?
As of March 24th, 2022, right now, the tools to upgrade a license are not available yet, but it is something that is coming. So right now, it would be, be very careful about upgrading, because yes, you would be stuck, whether it's a couple of days because you're in the cancellation period, or if you have to, wait until the end of the term, you might have, some double billing, having those two licenses writing side to side. But the ultimate goal from Microsoft is to provide what's called the API tools for providers to be able to do those upgrades. So within the portal from Sherweb, you'll be able to go from, say, Business Basic to Business Standard, and it will keep the same term that you have for that license instead of creating a whole new subscription. So those are coming soon, hopefully very, very soon.
Hopefully soon. That's great. One close in relation, can we just move an orphaned license from one customer to another?
From one customer to another, no, but it's very important to make the distinction. Like, what are you talking about, customer? So we're talking about from company A, a user, to company B, another user, cannot be done. But company A user, let's say, changes job, changes role, leaves the company and all of that, and you want to apply that same license to another user within the same company, that yes.
Okay. Can we just have the customer pay up front for the full year to mitigate any risk on our side?
Absolutely. It's one of the options. Like everything is pre-billed in the NCE platform. So if you were to choose an annual term with an annual payment, the full payment would be due on day one, and it would be prepaid for the whole year. So it is a great way, especially if you have some customers that you feel may be at risk for those long-term commitments paid monthly. You may want to get paid fully upfront when it comes to that.
Got it. Okay. If an employee leaves the company, can we reassign the same license to a different user?
So I think I covered that in the other question. So yes, absolutely. So that at least is available. You can reuse the same licensing within the same company.
Got it. Right. This one has a bit in here, so let me make sure I read it all. I saw these two dates from MS. Are these both true? Phase 1, March 10th, 2022. Partners can no longer place new commercial subscription orders on the legacy platform. Phase 2, July 2022. Partners can no longer renew legacy commercial subscriptions on the legacy platform.
You want to know that? Like I missed the beginning of the question, but I guess like what's the difference between the two? So the first one, March 10th. Anytime it's a new product, so it's the first time you want to add, say, Business Basic to a tenant, it has to be done through NCE. But the other date, by July 1st of this year, when they're talking about renewals, this is for existing customers, existing licenses that you've had on the legacy platform prior to March 10th. They all had on the back end, I don't know if you remember, like I talked about on the legacy platform, it was always just one term, one type of licensing. So the licensing was annual licensing paid monthly without any cancellation policy, but there were anniversary dates. So let's say that you added a license the first time, like a business standard license in June of 2019. So every June, your anniversary comes up and it auto renews. This June 2022 will be the last time it will be renewed on the legacy platform, because after the July 1st date, it will no longer be possible. Let's say instead you had that same customer business standard in 2019, but you added that the first time in October 2019. Well, come October 2022, you will no longer be able to renew that existing license on the legacy platform. It will have to be transitioned to NCE. So that's really the nuance between the two.
Thank you so much for going through those two phases for us. I see a question here about the slides. We are actually going to update the resources right now. So at the end of the presentation, feel free to refresh your page and you'll be able to download the resources. We'll also be able to add it if you want to reach out to them, anything like that. We can definitely get them to you. But yes, go into your resource box and you will be able to grab the slides. We have one more question here for you, Alex. Can I purchase licenses from multiple providers, or am I locked in a contract with just one?
You can purchase multiple licenses from multiple providers, but be advised that each time you purchase a license type from a provider, it creates its own subscription. So let's say you were to buy 10 licenses of Business Standard through Microsoft directly, and 10 licenses of Business Standard through Sherweb, you would have 2 subscriptions of Business Standard in your tenant. The end customer would only see a 20 licenses total of Business Standard for them to use. But you will have to keep in mind that you have 2 subscriptions for the same product, one with a term with Microsoft directly, the other one with a provider. So yes, you're able to purchase from multiple providers, but it comes with a cautionary tale.
Perfect. And Alex, one reminder to the audience, we're still here. If you have any more questions, keep popping them in. Alex, at the time, this is all the questions that we have. I just wanted to see if there's anything you can think of that someone may not be asking that you want to highlight about Sherweb, anything at all that we want to throw in really quickly for everyone.
Well, as I mentioned right before, right before we started the recording, Microsoft is always evolving, and as we were, preparing for this, they dropped another major announcement on the whole channel, and it is that the Microsoft Partner Network is going to be fully revamped in October of this year. So if you are already a Microsoft partner, you may have received some notification emails out of that. You may have a lot of questions on it. This is something that we are going to tackle very, very shortly. We may even come back, and offer a webinar with the RCP Mag and really explain all of those changes that are coming, because they, just like how NCE is a huge shift from the legacy billing system, this new approach for the Microsoft Cloud Partner program is going to be a huge shift from the Microsoft Partner Network that we know of today.
Thank you so much for that, Alex. We really look forward to being here with you again to share with everyone about those updates and changes. Alex, is there a way for anyone to reach out to you? I don't know if you want to share your LinkedIn or anything like that.
No, it's for my own protection. People are not supposed to reach out to me directly. We have a full team of account managers, and the way we have things set up, it's really to have that personal relationship with our partners. So they, like our account managers, have access to me. So you kind of have to go through them. And again, it is for my own protection, because if not, I would be entering emails, all the way through the middle of the night, because I hate having unanswered questions.
We appreciate it. Everyone, please go ahead and check out the Sherweb website as well. Use the contact section. And I think we have one more question here. If we assist the client with purchasing only directly from Microsoft, does that limit our flexibility?
It does limit your flexibility in a sense that if the customer is purchasing directly from Microsoft, you will not be recognized as the indirect reseller. You will not get competency measurements. You will not get incentives, because the channel for Microsoft Direct is called Microsoft Web Direct, is independent from the CSP channel, which is where you have indirect providers like Sherweb, indirect resellers like the partner probably is. So there is a downside to having your customers linked directly with Microsoft. But we do have, we don't have the time to talk about it today, but we do have some alternatives that we can offer, and other providers as well. They want to offer options for partners that feel uneasy with certain of their customers, the financial risk associated with a new cancellation policy. So if you're a Sherweb partner, talk with your account manager about the options that we can offer you. And then if you're not, reach out to us. It'll be a great way to have a conversation starter.
Thank you, Alex. That is all we have for today. This was so amazing. And again, we look forward to doing this again with you, Alex, as well as the Sherweb team. Thank you to the audience for attending today's webcast, sponsored by Sherweb and presented by RCP Mag. Don't forget to check out those resources. The deck is in there. Go ahead and swipe through those. And I hope you have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.